ready, go.
Sunday night, I'm at Smokehouse Pilots up in DC. They invited me up. Gabe Mueller's a longtime personal friend of mine. He invited me personally up here to this event tonight. Glad to be here. And Gabe has been a longtime personal friend of mine for many years up here. Right? Sorry, sir. Who are you? Is this your first time?
Yeah. What was your name?
My name's Gabe.
Are you Gabe Mueller?
Mueller.
Mueller? Mueller? Mueller or Mueller?
Mueller.
You know me, right?
I've never met you, so first time. Dan Grider, 2023 Sun and Fun on the flight line with the DC-3. It's a 1938 model Douglas DC-3. I've owned it 22 years, and we flew it into Sun and Fun just to kind of put it on display, hang around, play some banjo, and take some videos. So the airplane has really two functions, flight training, but now it's also a function of hauling dogs, or specifically rescue animals, out of disaster areas, because the problem is, out of any area that gets hit with a disaster, there's going to be 100 dogs end up in a dog pound within a few days. This is the one area that's not covered by government. There's no government aid for it, and really the only government solution is to kill the dogs. We just use the airplane to get them out of there. I collect donations $1 and $2 at a time. That gives me a gas fund so that when these places call, I can use the DC-3 and go fly and pick up a bunch of dogs and get them out of an area that I got to get them out of very quickly. There's quite a few volunteer organizations that use little airplanes, hauling 3 and 4 and 5 dogs at a time, but a typical dog flight runs between $12,000 and $15,000 to load dogs and charter a big plane. It's very expensive. So I'm probably the only guy using a big airplane to haul a massive amount of dogs all at one time. The flight I just did had about 75 dogs on it. That was last weekend, but I can hold as many as 150 dogs. I started flying in 1978, then I became a flight instructor in 1982, and I've been teaching ever since. So I've soloed hundreds of people, and I still to this day teach in anything single, twin, multi-engine, radial, turbine, jet, DC-3, Warbird. I can instruct or give a rating in anything. Really, the flight instruction world has been my entire career. I flew as a captain for Delta Airlines for many years. I did my first dog flights more than 10 years ago, getting animals out of Florida after the hurricanes down there. So I specifically saw that it could be done, and I've just had it at the back of my mind all this time that I really want to use the airplane for dog flights. That's really where I wanted to go. Always the problem was before is who's going to pay for it. But now with my YouTube channel, I've got enough presence, I've got enough people that see what it is that I'm trying to do and can afford to donate $1 or $2, airborneanimalrescue.org. The airplane should be on standby and ready to go when something happens. We just launch the airplane to go get them and get them out of there. That's really the whole idea. Sunday night, May 7, 2023, Dan Grider, Probable Cause. Glad to have you with us live tonight in the live chat room. It's a pre-recorded video. I'm recording this from Atlanta, Georgia. When you see this, I'll be in another remote location, and I want you to take special note of that. At the very end of this video, I'm going to play a little bit of guitar for you, but when this video ends, at about the 20-minute mark or something like that, when this video ends, we're going to go live via this phone, and then you'll figure out where I actually am while you're watching this right now. I'd like to go live, and I'd like to take your questions and talk to you and interact with you via live YouTube. We've tried this one time before. It worked really good, so we'll give that a try. As soon as this video ends, check out the next video that comes in right behind it because it'll be live. I'll take questions, comments, and insults via the comment section. If you want to tell me how bad I am, I'll take that. If you want to tell me how bad of a guitar player I am, I know it's true, and I'll take it. We're going to do a little bit of show and tell tonight because this is a fascinating one. I've only got one accident to talk about. That's the A36 crash in California. I'll get to that in a few minutes, but I want you to know this accident thing, I've been traipsing around looking at these accidents for a long time, and I got a little bit of show and tell I'm going to give you here right tonight. This is just a little bit of interesting stuff. I'm going to show you what I do. I go to these places and I pick up stuff on the ground. I look at the flight aware data. I look at the ATC tapes. I look at the records. I look at any pictures I can get off the media, witness statements, things like that, and I formulate my own opinion. A lot of these accidents I make it to. A lot of them I don't. I can't go to all of them, but I want to show you a couple interesting things here. I keep these in Ziploc baggies for things that I pick up on the ground long after the investigation is over, after NTSB has left, and after everything's done. I still walk around and pick up stuff. This is some actual window plastic from the Beechjet, November 25 Bravo Romeo, that crashed in Rome, Georgia in 1991. Fascinating story there. I went there and did a video on this crash a long time ago. Here's the Barron crash in Atlanta. This is some pieces off the engine that were still laying out there on the ground. I take a look at the metal and how hard it broke and what kind of metal it was, and make my best guess as to what the speed of the airplane was when it hit the ground. In order to break the metal and snap it with this kind of coloration on here, how fast must it have been going? This was not a soft crash landing. And also, on that Barron crash in Atlanta, I found the pilot's logbook out there laying in the rain on top of the ground. So I took all the pieces of the logbook that I could find. This is the deceased pilot's actual handwriting on his actual logbook, and I was able to basically reconstruct the last 2 weeks of his flying off his logbook. Was still laying out there on the ground. Totally fascinating. Here's a piece of plastic. This is from the fatal crash in Oklahoma I went to last year. Piece of window glass off of that. I try to collect a little bit of stuff off of this. Here's the seat belt. Remember the crash up in Blue Ridge, Georgia? The little Piper Tri-Pacer. One was killed in that, loss of thrust on takeoff. Check this out. The seatbelt was still laying on the ground, and guess what? It's cut here. The seatbelt was still attached to the airplane, but in order to get the guy out, they had to cut the seatbelt, and this cut seatbelt was still laying on the ground, along with some glass, some paint chips, and the rest of that. Not much you can do with it, but it tells me that they had to cut the guy out of that. Here's some interesting stuff. Here's some paint chips off of Kobe Bryant's helicopter. I went to the Kobe Bryant crash site. These are actual paint chips. I got quite a few pieces off the Kobe Bryant helicopter in my possession at this time. Nothing you can really do with it, nothing you can really tell about it, but just some stuff to show that I was there. Here's something really fascinating I want you to see, and I've got a lot to say about this coming up in the very near future. These are the car keys from Jessica Walters from 66 Bravo Kilo. These car keys were at the bottom of the lake. The NTSB final report has come out on 66 Bravo Kilo, and boy, have they got it wrong. They called it spatial disorientation. I'm going to do a full video recap of that and why the NTSB is completely wrong on this. Look at this key. This key is bent. This jet hit the water so hard at such an excessive foot per minute rate of descent, you can't believe it. This thing went nose down with no attempt to pull out. This was not spatial disorientation. I got the set of keys that they recovered from the bottom of the lake, and they're in my possession now. I've also got a couple other things I want to tell you about, some places I'm about to go to collect some more stuff. June 11th is my birthday. We're taking a big trip, and everybody's going. We're going out to Las Vegas. I want to invite you to go with us on this trip. In 1941, there was a actress named Carol Lombard was on board a DC-3. She flew directly into the face of a cliff. At about midnight on a takeoff from a DC-3, night, VMC, perfect weather, and they flew directly into a cliff. We're going to this crash site. Most of the airplane is still there. Most of the wreckage is still there. I want to invite you to go with us. My birthday is June 10th. My birthday is June 11th. We're meeting at June 10th in a little place called Good Springs, Nevada, just south of Vegas. We're going to meet at a bar called the Pioneer Saloon. We're going to meet there in the morning at about 9 a.m., and then we're going to drive up to the ridge where we can hike down to the crash site. So if you'd like to go with us, it's free. Love to have you go with us on this thing. That night, Saturday night, the night before my birthday, there's a band playing, the Infernos. This is a band called Frankie Lee and the Infernos is playing Saturday night. Guess who the guest trombone player is? Frankie Lee and the Infernos. You're invited. They got plenty of food. plenty of room and everything there. So we're going to stay out late and party with Frankie Lee and the Infernos right there in Good Springs, Nevada. Should be a great time. We should be coming in off the mountain at about 6 p.m., well before dark. You're welcome to go with us. There's no charge. I'd love to have you with us. If you're going to go, bring water and good hiking shoes, and you need to be capable. You need to be very capable. This is a very steep climb. I'm going to show you right now the graphic of where it is that we're going on this. We're going down to the crash site. There's plenty of airplane pieces, and the engines and props are all still there, all still laying where they came to rest that night from 1941 or 42, I believe. A couple other things coming up, fascinating. I'm going to do a story. I'm going to do a video on Amelia Earhart. You're not going to like it, but I want you to pay attention to this coming up. My Amelia story and what I think really happened. I've done a lot of research. I got a lot of these books that I bought, and I'm going to tell you all about Amelia and my entire story on that. Take it for what it's worth. I'm also completely fascinated with the story of Tenerife. This is the Canary Islands, Tenerife, the two 747s that ran into each other. Still the largest aviation disaster the world has ever seen when two 747s collided out there. I'm actually going to go to Tenerife sometime in the foreseeable future to shoot video and tell that story. I've got a fascinating angle on that, and I've got somebody else that's going to also tell that story as well. Some tremendous amount of history on that. I'm totally looking forward to traveling to Tenerife when I can get the time to do it. And finally, the next thing we're talking about is the schedule. June 2, I'll be in Arkansas, aircoup.org, E-R-C-O-U-P-E, aircoup.org is their annual convention flying in Arkansas. Check out their website for this if you want to go. I'll be out there. This is a Friday night. I'm speaking at their convention thing dinner on Friday night. Should be a great time. Pretty informal. I'll probably play the banjo. I'll probably get thrown out, but that's all good. That's Friday night. Saturday and Sunday, June 3 and 4. This is Vintage Days, Williamson, Georgia. I'll be in Williamson, Georgia at the little airport out there, the grass strip, Williamson, Georgia for Vintage Days. The DC-3 will be there. If you want to come out, I'll probably be under a shade tree drinking a sweet tea, but I'll be hanging around for and camping out. I'm staying on the field Saturday night there, probably sleeping out underneath the wing of my DC-3. If you'd like to come out and hang out with us, that'd be totally fun. We'll probably get up and eat breakfast on Sunday morning out there and then probably fly the DC-3 back out. So that's June 2 and 3 and 4 schedule. Then, of course, June 9, 10, and 11 will be in Vegas. Then June, I want to tell you about this for sure. This is June 14th in Portland, Oregon. This is EAA 902, Portland, Oregon. Fascinating place. If you're in the Portland, Seattle area, I'd love to see it. Everyone's welcome. You don't have to be a member of EAA 902 to go to this thing. It's going to be totally fun. So that's June 14th in Portland. Check out their website. They've got a lot of information on there about that. And then after that, we've got plenty of other stuff coming up in June and July that I can't tell you about yet, but it's going to be totally good. Now, let's go ahead and look at May. May 2023 started off with a tragic fatal in California. I'm going to show you the flight path of this airplane on what I think happened. This is a Bonanza A36. Here's a picture of it on the screen. The N number was 2038 Yankee, and it happened on May 1 at about 2 p.m. local time out there. This airplane was going into Big Bear Airport in California, and low on fuel. I think they were either out or very low on fuel. There was no fire after it hit, but this thing definitely had an engine failure. It was left base, extended left base. The ADS-B data quit right about here, so I have drawn in some extra data on where I think that they went. They were against a tremendous headwind when they turned base to final. They were going into a very strong wind. They knew that they could not make the runway, and there was residential areas, so they elected to turn right and aim for this field. The problem was they had already selected gear down when they had their engine failure. They did not quite make it to the field. They tried to clear these trees, which is right here. They hit very hard. They stalled. They hit left wing low. This airplane hit very hard, and it slid into this steel structure right here. 3 people on board killed instantly due to the sudden stop, this steel and cement structure, this A36. But it was low. I think it was very low on fuel. Their main error was trying to go in gear down into this field. It was too much drag. They could not extend it. They should have gone gear up, full flaps, gear up into an open field, and they'd be alive today. Remember, you get your engine failure in a retractable gear airplane, I would go for gear up into open dirt every time. Don't put those wheels down. You don't need the drag, and you don't need the wheels. Those wheels are going to help you be slippery and roll with high speed into something. You can't dispel that kinetic energy. With the gear up, you're going to slide to a stop on the dirt and in the grass, and it's going to be rough. It's going to damage the flaps for sure, but you're going to be alive. So that's what you got to do there. That's what I think happened on the A36. They came in at an angle here. They stalled, they hit left wing low, and it hit very, very difficult. Our deepest respects and condolences to these three individuals. I've got their names. I'm not going to put their names on here yet because all that stuff still has not been officially released yet. But our deepest condolences and respects to these three individuals. Don't end up on one of my videos. Don't end up in the subject of one of my videos. I want to show you this board. Remember the video that I just produced the other day that has to do with 400 feet, the engine failure at 400 feet. That's an excellent interview with a guy that had his engine failure on takeoff at 400 feet. I've modified this board here. This is becoming this is becoming alive, and this is staying alive. My cards aren't working here. This side is becoming alive. This side is staying alive. Staying alive is my theme. I want you to go back and look at this video and see how this is broken. I'm not an anti-FAA guy. I'm just trying to illustrate that there's a huge difference between FAA becoming a pilot and this side is maintaining a pilot. This is becoming alive. This is staying alive. There's a huge difference between the two. The maneuvers that you use to become a pilot are not the scenarios that are going to happen to you after you become a pilot. And that's why my theme, staying alive, is my theme. This is Dan. AQP. I don't own AQP. I just want you to understand that the theme of staying alive, maintaining your life, you were already born. Now let's just keep you alive. That's all AQP is. You can call it whatever you want. You can think of it however you want. I'm not going to sell it to you. I'm not going to cram it down your throat in the form of a form or a thing like that, or paperwork or government deal that you got to do. Just think about it and learn the maneuvers. Learn the scenarios that are going to happen to you as a private pilot or as a commercial pilot. You guys out there flying around, this is for sure exactly what's going to happen to you. And the theme song that I always start in this video series with is this one. I'm going to let it go, but remember this live video is coming on next. Here's my guitar rendition of this live. Here's what it sounds like. Hope you stick around for the live. It's coming on next. Thanks for watching. For my tiny little itty bitty YouTube channel, Dan Grider, Probable Cause.